Here's my story with smoking. So I grew up around smoking and I was always excited to try it as a kid. It seemed like such an adult thing to do. And I had a really hard time fitting in school. And so I ended up hanging out with an older group of kids. They all smoked. I picked it up fully hooked on cigarettes and weed by 13 years old. And for me, smoking was like a survival tool. I never really had that chance to develop regulation skills, to learn how to care for myself. And so whatever problem I had, I always turned to smoking to help me. And smoking became deeply tied to my workaholism, to my perfectionism. The harder I was on myself, the harder I pushed myself, the more I would turn to smoking to access these different parts of myself. The relaxed version, the cool girl, the rebel, the screw up. Smoking became my only means to be anything other than perfect. And as I got older into adulthood, my mental health was really suffering and my physical health. I was actually having dental surgeries with stitches in my mouth, and I was still smoking through that. Feeling that terrible actually pushed me to work harder at quitting, because up until then I had tried willpower, patches, none of that worked for me. It wasn't until I got really curious and started to really give attention to how I felt when I smoked, what I was looking for, and if I was getting it. And I was able to access the gifts of my heart that had been closed off to me for so long. Things like self-love, things like compassion, grace, and most importantly, my intuition. And so through many years of work, I was able to finally quit smoking in a lasting way. And now as a quit smoking coach, I help others on their journey do the deep inner work to find out what they truly need, what's been buried, and how to access it again, so that we don't rely on anything outside of ourselves like smoking to be all right in the world. And it's not easy work, but it's definitely worth it. So if you want to hear more about my story, or stories from other people who have quit smoking or vaping, nicotine, or cannabis, check out my podcast, You Can Quit Smoking, because we all have our own unique way with it, and I know that you can find your way out too.